So I got run over by a doghouse. True story. And here's how it went. I lived in snow country at the time. This was 20 some odd years ago, I guess. And I was working on building a house. And I had a cab over camper on this kind of slope that I had leveled spot out, put the cab over on it. But it was probably maybe 100 yards off the road. A little bit of a grade, not bad. But I decided to build a doghouse because I got a new puppy, a Rottweiler. Love them dogs. And he was a sweetheart. And I built the doghouse out of bits and pieces I had left over from work in construction. I had some 5/8 thick plywood and some 2x6s, and I thought, well, why not? I have a tendency to overbuild, which I guess is better than underbuild, right? And so my neighbor up the hill said, yeah, come on over, use our shop. And he had saws and all that jazz and electricity. And so I did. I built this thing. It was probably 4 feet wide and 5 feet long, 2 feet or so in the back, and then it sloped a roof up to about 3 feet. And I had 2x6 walls, insulated walls, ceiling, floor, all of it. Nice little rubber mat in front, and plenty of room for cushions and stuff inside there. You can imagine. I did climb in there, and it was roomy even for me. And so the dog was going to do good. I thought everything's swell. So I got the doghouse built, and fortunately had realized that I only had 4 feet in between the wheel wells of my truck, so it wasn't any wider than that. So I had to jack it up with a lumberjack jack and put a couple blocks under it, a little bit more, a couple more blocks. I finally got the edge onto my tailgate and went around the other side and lifted the light end. This thing weighed, like I said, it weighed about 250 pounds. So there wasn't really much of a light end, but the smaller side, I lifted it up, slid it in, got it in my truck, and started driving down the hill around to the bottom, and then started climbing up this incline where I was, where my cab over was. And I probably got about, 60, 80 feet up this slight grade, and I didn't realize it at the moment, but the whole doghouse had slid out the back, landed on the ground, looked in my mirror, and I went, oh, that was very disappointing. And because I was almost there, I probably only had another 50, 60 feet to go until I hit the flat spot, and I could, wrestle it off and tuck it underneath the cab over, which would have been perfect. And so, all right, I stopped the truck, put it in park, left the engine running, didn't set the parking brake, dumbass, and got a rope out of the back of the truck and went down to the doghouse, looped it around, and then hitched it around to the hitch, the bumper, and was walking back up to my truck. This was probably about 30 or 40 feet of line between my truck, and I didn't feel like backing up. I'd already, got it that far, so I was just going to drag it up, which made sense at the time. And so I went around, opened the door, grabbed the steering wheel, and somehow the truck jumped gear. It wasn't in a parking brake situation, like I said, but it was in park, and it decided to hop out of park. And I have no idea how that happened, how that's even supposed to be possible, but it did. It jumped out of park before I could even get my leg in there. And somehow I got a hold of the steering wheel, and I got spun around. I'm being dragged now. I'm looking right at my driver's side wheel spinning right at my face, and I let go of the steering wheel, got my arm out of the way. At least I was thinking clearly at that point. Somehow the truck had kept going downhill, spun the doghouse around, still connected, and was both now traveling downhill toward this little road that I came in on, which on the other side of it was a cliff. And and it wouldn't have been good at all. I don't know how this happened. I winded up getting my leg tangled up in the rope between my now moving truck, rapidly moving truck, and this doghouse doing end over ends. I'm looking over that. I saw my truck, and I'm just couldn't figure out how to put all this together quickly enough to avoid certain catastrophe. But fortunately, my truck hit a tree. Well, yeah, I guess it would be fortunately. It hit a tree, didn't do a lot of damage to the vehicle, or the tree, but it stopped. The doghouse kept going. It finally stopped. And when I finally stopped, I'm looking up at the sky through the trees, and I'm just going, what in the hell just happened? And I looked down at my leg, and it was tore my jeans and peeled some skin off, but it wasn't broken. It was still there. And that's how I got run over by a doghouse. Yeah.